live. There we go.
We did.
I
Yay.
think we did. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with me is the awesome Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
Hot.
Yeah, it's been a scorcher.
It's been more than a scorcher. It was been terrible bear heat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a little bit much today. Even the air conditioner was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have decided that after the show, I'm abandoning my office for the night.
Ah.
Yeah, I may reconfigure the living room. Because, quite frankly, it's too damn hot back here for my computer, much less the furry bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We've kind of had that with the house today in general.
Yeah, it's been really weird.
Yeah. We were really struggling to hold the heat back today.
Yeah, very much so.
Hi, Brenda.
Hello, Brenda. How are you?
But yeah, no, it's been an interesting week.
Oh, it has. It's been an interesting week for those that don't know, and I don't think that we had any publicized, Aeson events, but Aeson's back under lockdown. Thank you, West Virginia, for not following the mask rule and washing your hands and being adults.
Basically.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, granted, we do have to say that West Virginia is currently doing better than a lot of the country.
Exactly.
And that's kind of not saying a whole lot.
No.
But we're still trying. I think a lot of people are trying.
I think they are now.
Yeah. And I appreciate Justice's mask mandate.
Mm-hmm.
I am appreciating that.
Yeah.
We do have states like Georgia that will not do it.
Well, that's because their health officer isn't stepping up to do it. They're letting the governor do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know either. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm just waiting for the stock market in about 2021 to 2022 to skyrocket up.
Actually, hasn't it already?
Mm-mm.
Just a little? Compared to, but when you look at what investors are making,
mm-hmm.
It hasn't returned to normal, but right now, if you look at return to normal,
mm-hmm.
I think in a few situations, that's going to be a massive economic boon.
Right.
There were a lot of people selling off, and there were a lot of people, it looked like, kind of buying while prices were lower, knowing what would eventually happen.
Right. And that's what you should be doing with your stock. However, if you look at historical trends, we have the plague. Happened in 1918 to 1919 to 1920. 1921, stock market went, and everyone had high times.
Yes.
Till the 1930s.
Yes. But that's also because and we kind of see that around the world right now. There are some countries that have an artificial, economy.
Yeah.
It's just the actual tangible assets aren't there.
Right.
And that's kind of the big problem that that I, in many ways, have with stock markets. Is they're representative of future performance, maybe. They're not they don't have to be heavily asset backed.
Right.
And I know that there's a certain amount of gamble, but we've been doing this whole pump it up, and then we act all surprised when it's nope.
Yeah.
Gonna crash.
Exactly. But, and these are kind of the things that, being someone who looks and studies history, gets very Like, let's see if this keeps the track. Have humans kind of learned anything in 100 years? Well, I have an answer right now. No, they haven't.
No.
All
No.
technology haven't learned shit.
No. It's it's the joy of learning history as you're doomed to watch others repeat it. But yes. Oh, well, what else do we have new and exciting?
Well, I've got tomato plants as high as I am in our little garden.
You do?
Yeah.
We
had to take the fence down.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because we were actually harming vegetables.
Yes.
Like they had nowhere else to go. Like it was just shoving everything together. So now we're just hoping little bunny Foo-Foo doesn't come in and die of a heart attack.
Well, honey, if he does, it'll be little bunny Foo-Foo stew in the pot.
Well, there you go.
Roast bears be cooking.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
So either way.
But no, it's been interesting. You know, I took on my I let loose this morning. For those that are on my public Facebook, I kind of went off on somebody this morning and made it very clear that no, I'm not going to drop this when I think that it's no longer a big deal. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah. See, this is, and we got into this conversation personally, and I don't know if we ever made it to Mountain Bears with it, but it's one of those things. I begin to understand it. It doesn't mean I agree with it. But yeah, it's one of those things I understand when people are like, I'm done with COVID. I'm done with wearing a mask. I'm done with this. I'm done with being afraid. I get it. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to have to live with. Like, masks suck. Like, point blank, masks suck.
Yeah.
Like, no one's enjoying this. I do not have a mask fetish. This is not a mask turn on for me. Like, I am not just going, oh, yeah, every time I put on my mask. No. Not a fetish. Not a thing I enjoy. It is a thing I do. For very good reasons. But no, I'm like, I get it. I really do on one side of it. It sucks. This sucks. It's a sucky year. Still alive. Still don't have major breathing issues.
Yep.
Trying to hold on to that.
Apologies.
Hello, Alexandria. Okay, is that in the... I want to be careful with Alexandria. Is that in the form of a question for a reading, or is that in the form of a generality?
I think it's generality, honey.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been our focus, and it's because it's new. It's been the news' focus because, let's see, the government ain't messing it up.
Yeah.
But it has changed a lot of things. And we're kind of talking about this, that I'm liking the slower pace. I'm liking hanging clothes out. I'm liking, gardening.
All things that, like, you hadn't had time to do, or that if you had done would be, like, one more thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't argue with the idea that, this is in many ways a really good time for people to, like, take time for themselves, explore new hobbies, get into new things. It's also just a really shit time for people.
Yeah.
A large part of that is due to the fact that we have a government that doesn't get it. Like, we have this unfathomable idea of giving everyone money so they don't have to work right now, or that they can avoid work as much as possible. What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
Reading comments.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a weird angle. It was like you were like
Yeah.
the comments hidden behind the screen. Yeah.
But here's the thing. It has brought to attention for a lot of people their ADHD, their mental health, self-care, self-wellness. Matter of fact, the network I'm working for, Keen, will be doing a whole month of wellness with different webinars, which I think is kind of cool.
Awesome.
Alexandra, I'm also nonstop. I don't classify myself as ADHD because I can actually hold 5 thoughts in my head, not one, that just repeats itself. And for me, it's not killing me. It's more so giving me time to focus on a lot of stuff.
Well, there is that, but though you do have to look back in the very beginning of this, you were really struggling.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know what to do with yourself. You were really lost. And we had to have the whole introvert extrovert conversation. Because you were of the firm belief you were an introvert. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Like, I'm cool. Like, everything in my day has been canceled. Yes! My life is complete. You are sitting there looking at, everything canceling or seeing where this is all headed. And you're just like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, There was a while there that it was kind of like, okie dokie.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're going to need a little rubber room and a straitjacket for the Aeson because he's not getting his people fix.
No, I'm not getting my people fixed, but I'm getting my people fixed. At the same time we were developing this show, going into video, there was a lot of things going on, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with the moving parts? Moving parts have got to move. But, when we focus on self-care, when we focus on self-understanding, when we focus on finding things that we like about things, we can step out of that drudgery of, we're now at 100 deaths, and we now have 600 people. You can watch this podcast on Facebook, YouTube. It will be up somewhere within the day. It'll be into the podcast system, so you can actually listen to it on the Alexa, iPhones. Almost to iPhones. I've got to hack it. It's in Google Podcast. It will be on Anchor. We're in like 20 different markets and places with both shows.
Yeah, we're doing what we can to make sure that, hi, anywhere you would like to get your content fixed. And I definitely appreciate that, Alexandria. Yes, we are getting a people fix. You get our social interaction.
Yes.
But no, there was a period, though, you've been on the road a lot. You've been doing lots of events for a very long time. You were doing lots of in-person stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was like, nope.
Yep. And now it's like, hell no.
Do it. Yeah. Well, but even in the beginning, though, I'm going back all the way to the beginning, when all this hit, it took a while for you to shift that gear. It ground, it roared, it coughed, it sputtered. It was not a, smooth, graceful clutching shift. It was kind of foot on the gas, slamming it through the gears.
Honey?
Yes.
Haven't you learned by now I am not graceful?
Nope.
Not graceful at all.
Oh, you try, though.
Well, I do try.
I'll give you try points.
Well, I can be grace. I can have grace at times. I can have grace to deal with situations, to deal with people to a point. And I have that when it hits that, oh, fuck you, I'm done. I will blow up the world. And people who have followed me on Twitter and Facebook have seen me blow up my thoughts and go, all right, here you go.
Sweetie, I'm pretty sure the grace that you have, if it were in a baggie in your pocket and it were a drug, it wouldn't even qualify for possession.
Exactly.
But no, it's, yeah. Unfortunately, you do have a little bit of a bull in a china shop personality and physicality.
Exactly.
So yeah, and it was really rough for you because you like your outdoor spaces because trees don't get mad.
True.
Grass is forgiving.
But, you know, this week also we saw a security risk with Twitter. Major accounts got hacked, and you know there were messages about send me 1,000 bitcoins and I'll send you 2,000 bitcoins.
Oh, gotta love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate the ransoming thing. That's what I really hate.
Well, what I found was even more interesting is this wasn't an external hack. This was an internal bribe that got them access to the tool to reset passwords on accounts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, hadn't caught that one this week.
Yeah. Gotta love Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? I mean, because that's just like your department.
Well, you know, there's this weird thing that happens with IT is as in a previous company that I worked for, a lot of people see IT as overglorified clerical. Or just call center employees, and that they are very replaceable, and that they are not, important.
Right.
And there's kind of this push in corporate culture in general to low dollar your employees. Mm-hmm. There is a major problem with the way that we work, that people are very expendable. They're just a human resource. Not a lot of companies are really making a lot of effort.
Right.
And that kind of sometimes turns into resentment for employees, but it also can carry over into the people that you hire. Mm-hmm. And in working for a company where, they didn't pay all that great. Their call center employees were not really all that well paid. Paid better than I was. Mm-hmm. And I was in IT. So that tells you how crap that job was. But we actually had someone who figured out a very simple loophole in the way that our systems worked.
Right.
And a perfect timing, perfect storm kind of situation of things that he could do that would allow him to get a giant commission check. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately he executed his plan. It went off without a hitch. He got a tremendous, massive commission check. The company had never paid one out so high. Should have been a first clue. Like, you broke records and you broke them like no one will ever beat this again. Like, that's insane. So that's kind of where you run into that problem, is what he had done was effectively abuse information he was being given to make payments on accounts that were illegitimate payments. Mm-hmm. That, of course, the account holders got very ticked off about. And he got that check cashed and skipped town before we even knew what hit us. So that's what I'm saying, is you give people like that kind of power over you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't think about it. You don't think about what you're doing as a corporation. Right. On either side of the equation. Like, that's a required work tool. Like, you're gonna have to pay people to reset passwords.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, you have to be able to trust those employees. You have to be able to hire good people. And you have to, not to be rude, but make it worth a good employee's time.
Right.
And create an environment that is worth it to an employee to work there.
Well, and here was my thing. Now they're going to start requiring that it has to have 2 different people to okay a password change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking of some of the things that require both me and your approval in the business, or your approval and my approval.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that could be difficult.
Yeah. Well, and realistically, all you're doing is spreading the blame.
Right.
Like, in that instance, you're spreading the blame, you're slowing down the process, and you're potentially just creating a situation in which you're going to end up not really solving anything. It sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good in theory,
mm-hmm.
but not always.
Right. And also, I think it's important to kind of talk about this, because we've talked about this a little bit on the show, but not a lot. Some of the security steps that people should be taking right now. Because, this isn't the only hack that we've had from Russia. They've also tried to hack our research facilities to get our COVID-19 research. We've had an election hacked, and I'm sorry it was hacked. It was proven to be hacked. We just couldn't, prove the connection between Russia and the orange Cheeto from hell, which I think that we will do if he doesn't put his pardon out. What are some steps people should be doing with their social media and different things right now?
That's becoming a harder and harder question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ultimate problem that we run into is people like stuff for free.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, you kind of open yourself up. Like, there is no free lunch.
Right.
Like, you've got to first accept that. There is no free lunch in terms of online games, in apps, in, Part 2 is a lot of the most basic scams on the internet in the world originated as like chain letters, literal physical receive in the mail kind of crap, they still work. Some of the original telephone scams, slightly modified, still work. We still have what is effectively check kiting.
Right.
It's taking on new shapes and forms. Fraud is always going to be a problem. And in some cases, you just have to start with is this too good to be true? And when I say, is this too good to be true, it doesn't have to be you want $1 million, or, someone's going to send you money and it's going to be more because they have a problem and blah, 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 cash this check, whatever. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just be a little cynical and go, wait a minute. What's the angle here? Like, help me understand.
Mm-hmm.
What am I? And moreover, we run into issues with apps, because once you download those, all of them have permissions, and quite frankly, most people just hit approve. And don't understand what those apps might be getting access to. We ran into that issue and that was part of the commentary, I think last week, about TikTok. Was that, okay, what all is this app getting access to?
Right.
If it's getting location access, it's getting your contact list. And then what is it doing with that? Is that a continuous thing? Is that something it's constantly monitoring? And how are they then using that data? Are they selling it? Are they, making it available?
Right.
What are you doing there? Then we run into some of the social media games. And we've kind of had this discussion as well, is that, yeah, there's, and especially right now, people are looking for, so to speak, the icebreaker style games that they can have, a little fun with their friends and post something to their wall and maybe find out something they didn't know. You start looking through those, and a lot of it is like, your first pet's name, or, who was the first person you kissed, or what's your favorite food, or, on and on and on. What's, your mother's maiden name. And you start looking through those, and those are very common account security Q&As.
Yeah.
Like you took the mass list of things you might be asked to, validate your identity, and made a game out of it. Or the joke that I make to most people is your elf stripper name is not, like, playing that game, finding that out, not worth it. The street that you grew up on, your middle name or your mother's maiden name, and blah, blah, blah. And wow, bam, your elf stripper name or whatever.
Right.
Not worth it.
I do recommend, and I really was against this to begin with, using a program like Dashboard or LastPass and letting them make your passwords.
Yes.
Yeah.
In some ways, that actually becomes its own best security.
Yeah.
Now, there is one fatal flaw there. You still have to have a password for LastPass. So, your biggest problem you run into is making sure that is a really good password. And then that's the last good password you need.
Yeah.
Or for a lot of the services, they're all password protected. Right. I definitely like two-step authentications. Things like we have set up with your PayPal that does a text message. Things that are set up to require an authenticator code, which works a lot like an RSA key. So anyone who's had to carry one of those around, yeah, it's the same concept.
Well, what I'm looking at biometrics, like, nobody can access certain things of mine without my thumbprint, and there's only one of those.
Yes. What's always the comment that's always been made about biometrics is it's not bad security. It is, however, security that can be fooled. It's sort of like, Apple made a big deal about facial recognition. And then we found out that, like, the software wasn't as smart as we thought it was. You could literally hold someone's picture in front of the camera and that's me.
Right.
Now they've tried to make that better. But right now we are having a security problem in the world. And it's not that fingerprints are bad. It really isn't. It's just they have their limits. They have their limits, and you do have, like, we've all had to have seen that commercial by now where the little kid grabs mom's hand while she's taking a nap and unlocks the
Yeah.
Like, there's limits there. There are, and we've seen it in spy movies that you can do the whole process of, and a lot of them are very easily fooled, especially the, like, whole area sensors. Those usually have more ability to hack into than the slides.
Right.
The slides are a little more, because you're effectively wiping your fingerprint as you go.
Right.
Whereas when you're doing the press and hold,
Again, but at the same time, it's better to have a fingerprint, and there is one universal fingerprint um, that identifies only you. No matter what the software is, it's really hard for someone else to copy it.
It is. It can be a lot. But yeah, but then there's the question of what's happening with the data on that device.
Right.
Because if all you're doing is using a fingerprint to lock and unlock your device, but you just have plain old data, then that means plug your phone into a computer even when it's locked. And more likely than not, you can still access that data, or you can remove that memory chip. Again, depends upon what you're trying to do.
Right.
What you're trying to get access to. So encrypting a device is, of course, always better.
Maintaining your security patches, which Microsoft just put out a new one that updates a lot of holes in Microsoft.
Yeah. But therein lies a problem. Most of our phones, one of the biggest drawbacks for Android is with so many manufacturers and so many custom user interfaces, you're kind of stuck waiting for a manufacturer to release security updates.
Right.
So ultimately, if you're really concerned about your security, you're really concerned about your devices, you're really concerned about your information on your devices, you're kind of stuck every couple of years at minimum needing to buy a new device. Like otherwise, because that's typically the best you're going to get from most major manufacturers.
Right.
And that's major manufacturers. That's your like $400 and up phones. Is you'll get about 18 months to 2 years of updates.
Right.
From device release day. So typically your security is still okay at like the 2 years from purchase point. Right. Long as you didn't wait forever to buy the device. The issue that a lot of people should be concerned about is that there are a ton of people using what would effectively be called burner phones. Cheap, disposable, inexpensive, easy to come by, and totally unsupported phones. Like you buy it and whatever you open and find in the box is what you own. That's it. You're not getting any, critical security updates, or you might get one or two, but you're really not getting, the best security there. But it is the most affordable device that people can typically buy. Like you're effectively stuck having to pay for security no matter what you do.
Right.
So that always worries me when I see people that have low-cost devices like the free, and then free apps and free games and free stuff. The more you compound that on a device, the higher your risk factors are.
Right. Well, and I'm going to say this. It is best not to use your main email account, the one that you use for your banking and everything else, for your social media. Nor should you use the same passwords.
Well, exactly. And in general, you would want to kind of have a disposable account. One that you can basically it receives spam. You open it long enough to activate, anything that you need to activate that isn't important, is not going to send you a bill. For your financial accounts, you would preferably have a secondary account that is strictly for those. That's it. That's all it does. And a third and final one that's your real email address. If you want to go one further, maybe have a separate one that is for work. in terms of, LinkedIn and profiles in that sphere. So you know what's coming into the inbox. And you can kind of keep the elements of your self and your identity separated.
Right. Well, and moving on, we actually got a question on
sorry.
the coffee shop earlier today. It was post. And I've talked about it before, but it was if the 13th sign is real. No, it isn't. Sorry, I'm getting invaded by mouse. But no, your sign hasn't changed. Your zodiac sign hasn't changed. If you are Cancer, you are a Cancer. You will be a Cancer to the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
What has occurred is astronomy has added another zone of astronomy. It has not, however, even affected tropical astrology, which is what your horoscopes are based on, what your sun sign is, what your moon signs are, what anything astrology based is. Now, here's the other part of that. Let's say that there was a grand meeting of all astrologers, like there was back in the 1100s, and they did decide to add a 13th, and they would do a 14th sign because you have to keep the circle balanced. It still wouldn't change your sign. It would change the ones born after you, after that meeting.
Well, I was seeing online, because Mika's question did kind of inspire me there, when she posted it to the coffee shop, that, it was kind of a moment. So I went kind of looking, and it looks like for Western astrology, not important. Did nothing change? You do not have that. Is true. But it also looks like, there's the other side of that, which is traditional Hindu astrology, in which that works a little differently, and it does make a difference.
Right. Well, here's the thing with Vedic astrology. It's practiced in one country, India. Where else is that even common astrology? It's like bamboo reading. Really cool system of divination. It's practiced in China and Japan. Nowhere else. I can't even get the sticks to begin practicing it in this country.
Okay.
It's the ones where they take the sticks and they have all the symbols on them, and you take and you toss them, and then the person pulls, I think it's 3, 6, or 8. Americans can't find those sticks because no one makes them.
Oh, that is a reference point. That's the same thing that they're talking about in the Man in the High Castle, isn't it?
Yes.
There we go. Sorry, that all sounded really familiar. And the hexagrams,
Hexes, oxes, shapes. Yes. Yeah. Now, there's another system that came out of Japan. It's with coins. You have a book on it. That you can do.
That may be the one then, because it sounded like it was the same thing, but there was 2 different ways to do it. Okay. Then never mind. I'm wrong.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
But Americans are using coins, normally pennies.
Okay.
In Japan and China, they use like 80 bamboo sticks.
Okay.
Through it. It's really cool. I've seen it done a few times when I've watched documentaries. I've seen it in some classwork. But as far as it being wildly popular, and I can just go up and see Mo and say, "Hey Mo, I don't even know what it's called, a bamboo reading system." And she'd be like, "Oh, no problem. I'll have it in for you in 6 weeks."
Okay, I thought that was the I Ching.
I Ching is the coin thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have a book on that. Really weird. You have a lot of books. When we combined our libraries, I'm like, okay, the children's books are his, but everything else could be debatable.
basically.
Yeah.
I kept all my baby books. But no, I know the I Ching was discussed, and then I forget what the other one was. I thought it was this. It was the same thing. There was just two different ways of doing it.
I don't think so.
I'm looking it up now just because it's going to bother me the rest of the show because I'm that guy. So yeah. Oh.
There you go. It's going over into your private thing.
Yeah, so yeah, it was the I Ching and Taoism. I'm not seeing it exactly.
Yeah.
Yai Jing,
No.
Classic of Changes.
There you go. Check private.
Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, things that will drive me crazy. Okay. So, yeah. Oh my god, I have a whole shelf of my baby books. And I can't get to it right now. Because I got a cricket, and that means I now can't access a bookshelf. Like, that's where, unless I put them on the other bookshelf. Oh, no, I put them on the other bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have a ton. It is all the classics. It is Dr. Seuss. It is... Oh, my goodness. You're going to look at the
Golden books.
Well, here. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, my goodness. Hi, baby books.
And that's minor. There are more over there.
Yeah. No, this is all the baby books.
Uh-uh.
So it's all the little golden books. So like Winnie the Pooh, and then there's Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, Peter Pan and Wendy, Lady and the Tramp. Okay, this actually just came with a Google thing, so that's, we added. Kittens Are Like That. Pinocchio, gotta have your essentials. Green Eggs and Ham. Bambi Grows Up. Everyone's favorite. 101 Dalmatians. Cinderella, which could be entitled My Life Story. Snow White. The Value of Respect. And The Value of Believing in Yourself. Oh my goodness, that is a stack.
All right, put them back up here, and I'll give you my titles for them.
Oh God.
Or my opinions of them.
Oh no, I'm horrified. Okay, one by one.
Yes.
Winnie the Pooh meets Gopher.
Winnie the Pooh meets Gopher. Decent storybook.
Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2.
That one shows what happens when you are a extrovert and you get introduced to an introvert.
Well, there you go. Peter Pan and Wendy.
That's what LSD is good for.
Do what now?
That shows what LSD is good for.
Okie dokie. Lady and the Tramp.
Most of my relationships.
Wow. Kittens Are Like That.
Kittens Are Like That. Yeah, not factual.
Uh-huh. Pinocchio.
This is what happens when you deal with a sociopath.
Alrighty. Green Eggs and Ham.
This is what happens when you deal with a bad cook.
Bambi Grows Up.
Depending, is that the one where Bambi actually gets to see the hunter or not?
I'm trying to remember because that one's been a while. Yeah, I think this is Life After.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this might be Life After.
I don't have an opinion on that.
Sure. Uh, oh no, this is the original story, and yes,
Well, that is what happens in real life. Things happen. We can't control our life. We just have to deal with it.
yeah. I was just curious. 1979
Uh-huh.
original publishing date. So yeah, 101 Dalmatians.
Animal cruelty at its best.
Really, I thought it was your life dream. Um,
No.
yeah, that much fur, that much fur. That's what I'm saying.
Cinderella should not be read to children. Actually, if they're going to read Cinderella to children, it needs to be the whole story of Cinderella that includes that the stepmother gets put into the dungeon. That teaches unrealistic expectations
Snow White.
to relationships. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, polyamory at its best. The Value of Respect, that one actually needs to be back in print and read in at least second grade.
Okay. And I would say apropos for today.
The Value most definitely needs to be read.
Yeah. But no, I just realized I'm missing one.
Honey,
I don't know where it's at.
Which one are you missing? Because My Little Woman's somewhere over there.
Oh hell. It's a green cover, and it is the what is it? I cannot think of the characters. I can't remember. It's not. It won't click for me right now.
Okay.
I'm. What? My brain's stuck.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, what is that? Like, I remember the whole story,
Well, tell me
or at
the
least the
story.
end of it. It's the one where they take the airboat through the swamp to get away. Yeah, that's a book horribly described. That's what that is. Trying to remember. I think they're mice.
The Adventures of Mother Goose.
No, it's not anything that easy. The Rescuers.
Oh, voluntarism at its best.
All right, that's an interesting version. Sorry, I totally blanked. I couldn't remember what they were called.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been a long time, guys. Okay.
Well, see, I was read the Grimm's fairy tales, which is much better than most of them.
Yeah. Well, and there's probably a few other books too.
There is. Like I said,
there's always I do have, I think it's an original Something Big Has Been Here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll wait for the comments to come in on that one. Because I know some of y'all got to know what I'm talking about.
Right. But like Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
No. Well, Brenda's there with you for the Brothers Grimm.
Yes.
But yeah. I don't know. Like, those weren't my favorites.
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe because they're not warm and fuzzy?
What, Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
Goldilocks and the Three Bears, embracing the ability to break into someone's home.
Well, you know, there's that. But I don't know. Now the Bernstein Bears, or the Bernstein Bears, that was my other like thing. No, that's like How to Wed a Bad 101. That's what that is.
No, it isn't.
Oh, but
But
you know.
I am very much for reading classics to children,
Mm-hmm.
beating them heads with like Frozen.
Why? Frozen's kind of fun.
Frozen is kind of fun, but it's
I mean,
also
it's not fun as a waffle maker. You have made that abundantly clear.
no, it is not fun as a waffle maker.
And the conversation about the waffle maker is very confusing. Because he literally said, you know, I want to get a real waffle maker. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? He said, the one we have makes frozen waffles. And right over my head, I was like, it makes Eggos?
Ew.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But no one's going to comment on Something Big Has Been Here.
No.
Really? Wow.
Nobody read that one. It wasn't a Disney one. Now, who remembers that they actually came out in cereal boxes?
Oh, the books?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. I remember now, probably some of my little golden books did.
Yeah.
That I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember wanting a Teddy Ruxpin, and Mom could not find me one. I've heard the story later. I was just very disappointed that Christmas. That's what that became. I wanted a Teddy Ruxpin.
Why?
I totally wanted it. The one you could put the cassette tape in, and it read to you, and it like mouthed all the words, and like everyone I knew had one.
Aw. I was never interested in that. I wanted a British chemistry set. That's what I wanted.
We're talking kids' books. I was not reading pornography as a child. Oh my gosh, guys. But no. Like, come on, really? Something Big Has Been Here? Jack Prelutsky? I think I said that name right. Let me double check. Prelutsky? Yeah. Or Prelutsky? Prelutsky. I don't know. I'm not good with it. Oh, well. I will say I made the school lunch ladies laugh in elementary school because of that book.
Here's what he's talking about. I will put it into Facebook. I think I'm putting it into the right Facebook thread.
Yes.
Go away.
Oh, let me see if I can find it really quick.
I found it on Barnes and Noble at 3.2 stars.
Do what?
Yeah, 3.2 stars.
Oh! Oh!
I know your childhood is smashed.
That's just horrible. That book was so worth it.
Exactly.
And let me double check you're posting the right one. Like, now I'm like, you better have posted the right one. I know, I'm horrible like that.
Well, I know, and you always think I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I just want to make sure people are getting the right thing. Because otherwise, it's totally confusing. But no, anyway, I can't find. I've lost the post. It's okay. Life's good.
But right now is a good time to be reading to children. Right now is a great time to finding videos. I highly recommend reading Go the Fuck to Bed.
Aww.
To children.
Aww. That's just mean.
No, it's a lovely, lovely bedtime story. Lord knows I heard most of the lines of it when I was a child. And an adult.
Oh, I'm trying to find this one. Oh, Grasshopper Gumbo was the one I was thinking of. I never can remember the title of it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's Grasshopper Gumbo, Iguana Tail Tarts, Toad a la Mode, Pickled Pelican Parts, Elephant Gelatin Frog Fricassee, Puree of Platypus, Boiled Bumblebee, porcupine pudding, steamed centipede skins, squid sucker sundaes, fried flying fish fins, meadow mouse morsels, cracked crocodile crunch. The school cafeteria serves them for lunch. Hey, it expands your vocabulary, is all I'm going to say.
Exactly. But yeah. So, there isn't a 13th sign. Don't be worried that your astrology is changing. Stick with what you were born with. And find things that interest you this week.
Absolutely. And not necessarily just in that, like, bad White House, this is what you should, like, do to cope with COVID. Exactly. Like, if you lost your job and you're unemployed, no. Or you're being forced to work right now, like, that's what's ticking me off. Is the White House, this is their solution for the unemployment situation, is just go find something else.
Well, however, I have to, on the other, and I very rarely agree with the White House. This is a great time, if you have been in a career and you hated it, to be looking for something else. If you have an interest and you enjoy working from home because you've discovered it, guess what? There are tons of companies out there that are hiring work from home. Try them out.
Very true. Very true. And it's not that it's the wrong answer altogether. It's that that's not keeping people in their homes. That's not keeping utilities on.
Right.
That's not helping us get out of this nightmare.
Right.
But yeah. But no, we can post that image here in a minute or after the show of the foods I was reading off. And I just want y'all all to do one thing, is try to read it aloud. You'll realize what I just accomplished, because that's not an easy poem to read aloud. It's a tongue twister.
It's meant to be a tongue twister.
Like, I almost lost it on there's one that I always lose it on. But the fried flying fish fins.
Fa.
Yeah. Fa. That's a lot of F's right together, I'm telling you now. It'll real quick.
Yes, it will.
But no, it's one of my favorite books. Yeah. And I think you were also horrified, though, when we were talking, going back real quick on the bookshelf, you were also horrified by the number of Bibles that I own.
Well, no, I was surprised you owned that many Bibles. I am not horrified by them. I think that you're missing about 22 of them.
Well, I know, but come on. I have like half a shelf of Bibles.
Yes, I know. In case I needed to make curse removal, this is perfect.
Okay, -1. There's one you are not allowed to throw at people.
Okay, why?
Because that one is a little more special.
Okay, I'll take that. But no, I have no problem with the number of Bibles you have. I'm a little upset that they're not the bigger, heavier weighted ones, because that normally works really well to remove a curse. Like the big, huge family Bible, having that clunked across your head 3 times, I don't think you'll be back to bother me.
No, those were in storage. Those were my grandmother's.
Yes.
Because she got all the dead people Bibles.
I'm still looking for the one that's a flasco.
Is a what?
Flask.
A flask?
Yes. You open the Bible up and there's a flask. Or you open the Bible up and there's a gun.
No. I did not turn my Bibles into hidden storage.
Why not?
Because.
And that just reminds me of the movie Fried Green Tomatoes and the preacher swearing on Moby Dick.
Yep. But no.
Yeah.
No, I have way too many books. Like, for someone who's as techie as I am, I've ended up with way too many books.
Well,
Like, physical paper books.
I know.
Like, I'm a little disheartened in myself.
I'm not disheartened with you. I kind of expected it. Granted, the ninth grade science book is a little much, but okay.
Do what now?
The ninth grade science book is a little much, but okay.
The ninth grade science book?
Mm-hmm. There's a ninth grade science book. I believe it's on the bookshelf behind you.
That should be my chemistry book.
Again, ninth grade science.
No, and it's not behind me.
Okay.
It's on a shelf somewhere. No, that was my intro to chemistry from college.
Okay, looked like my ninth grade science book.
Well, that's because I bought the international edition, which technically I wasn't supposed to do, but the international edition was like $54 or something like ridiculously cheap compared to what they wanted me to spend for the US version. It's the same book.
Yeah, different cover.
Well, and it's softback.
Right. But, and students looking at going back to college, please remember to go to like eBay and check your books because you might be able to get them for like nothing.
Maybe. I don't know how much of an issue that still is because I know ebooks are really starting to move into education. I know that for my college, we ran into two issues, though. Which was we had a lot of professors who didn't seem to get it or care that, these are really expensive books. Yeah. And if you only use them for a year or two, like, I can't buy this used.
Right.
Now, I know that by the time I left, it was starting to become more common for schools like that were part of like a more massive university bookstore like system. Amazon, for instance, to be able to move used copies of books around.
Right.
But we were running into that problem. We were also running into the professor-created packet book. Which was just like a chapter from this book and a chapter from that book and a chapter from this book and a chapter from this book. And here's an article I found. And it was just this weird amalgamation.
Yeah. They don't make a book for what I'm teaching you, so I'm going to teach you it all.
Well, now, actually, it was sometimes professors trying to skirt the system and at least get us less expensive text. But then there was a third problem we ran into, almost forgotten about, which were the literature classes.
Right.
And I swear to God, every single like English, lit, anything in those departments, professor I had, after the first one, they were like, never again. You do not buy your books until you come to your first class.
Right.
Because they will keep a list of books for every, like, if there's like 8 different professors or adjuncts teaching the same class, they will just amalgamate the book list. And so you end up buying a stack of books and find out you need 2 of them.
Well, then you take another lit class and you get the other 2 in and the other 4 in. And that's something I really like about the online classes that I've been doing, or the online classes I've done. I'm currently not doing any classes. Maybe this winter, we'll see. Of course, I don't know what degree I would go after this time because I'm kind of at that point.
Okay.
Is turning around, and most of the books are now included in the coursework.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But I know that university bookstores are sometimes a big part of like the university, economy.
Right.
I mean, they found it's a really good moneymaker, and they get a little cranky with professors who try to.
Well, and they get a little cranky with professors, and students get a little cranky with professors. I have a book
Mm-hmm.
that I bought for my metaphysics class. It was called Light Energy Healing. The only time I used that book in that class was to write my final paper, and that was 4 pages of research. That's it. We never used the book. That was a $150 book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I just kept, like, I went through my college at a weird point, I guess. I kept getting stuck with books that was the last time they were being used.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, please, what? Please don't do this to me. Like, I need, like, your $20, okay? Like, I know I spent like $1,000 on textbooks, and I'm only going to get 20 if you buy all of them back. I really need the 20. That is literally my gas money to go home.
Well, and see, what I do a lot of times is throw it up. It used to be half.com. So list it up on there, and out the door it went. Because otherwise, the freaking dining room would look like a library.
Oh, yeah. No, I just got to the point that there for a while I tried to donate them and found out that no. There are a few places you couldn't even donate them. They're like, no, we have a stack of those, thanks. Like, no, we don't need any more. I for a while used them as doorstops. Like at one point I had a glued together stack of books that was a doorstop. That was fun.
Well, I think we should send them along to the super sister-in-law and have her make me some boxes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Actually, she'll tell you how to do that. It's not that bad.
I know. It's just easier to let her do it because she does such a pretty job with it.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Yeah, that's the same thing you said when you got me making coffee.
And you still make good coffee.
Uh-huh.
Now that we fixed the recipe.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
There we go. But, yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah. Well, and another things we've been doing is I've been doing a lot of Instapotting. Last night was the first night I cooked salmon ever in my life. I'm not done well.
And did really well. And did really, really well with it. And I kept saying it's not that bad.
No.
You know, it's like it really isn't a hard thing to fix. Like, and especially not with the Instapot. Like, salmon is actually a lot easier than most people would give it credit for. It really is. Like, it is the most like clear-cut, like quick food. But it is very clear on done, not done. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah.
There's no lack of clarity. Is my salmon done? I don't know. Is it translucent pink or whitish pink? That's your choices. If it's whitish pink, it is done. Stop there.
And we've been having, and people know this, we've been having meat crises. And it's gone through the gambit. No chicken in the store, no beef in the store, no pork in the store, none of that in the store. You know the one section of food where there's still tons of it?
Yeah.
The
seafood. Weirdly enough. And it's starting to drop in price.
Yeah, majorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're getting like big bags of salmon for like $8, people.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
which is what, like 4 or 5 meals?
Yeah, like 4 to 5 meals out of it for the 2 of us.
Yeah. So
we got shrimp for like $2.
Oh God, when did we do that?
When I got the ones that you have to fix.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing is, like, you're scared of shrimp. Like, you're scared of cooking all seafood.
Yeah, because I don't do it.
Yeah. So no, he turns to me and is like, I don't even know what to do with this. So here you go.
Yeah. Here you go. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't have it. That was you're not allowed to have seafood at all.
Oh dear. No, our family would die. Um, like it would have been scary the first time we ever walked into a buffet and there was shrimp and like suddenly we were learning for the first time that our jaws could unhinge and our stomachs could now quadruple in capacity. Because that's where my family is on seafood, like, and especially on shrimp. Yes, and there is a lovely Instapot recipe that actually cooks everything at once. Like you quarter new potatoes, and you put your water in and some butter. I believe it is. I think the butter goes in. Like half the butter goes in, because it's like 2 tablespoons divided. And then you just take your literally frozen salmon and cover it in paprika and lemon zest. Both spices I would hope, have in your cabinet. Paprika at least. Lemon zest is always helpful. But you coat it in those two. You set it on a wire rack.
There.
Do what now?
Or you can use Old Bay because that's the same thing.
Well, can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you set it on your little wire rack on top of your potatoes, and I think it cooks for like 7 minutes. Like Instapot, manual pressure, 7 minutes, and it's done. You pull your salmon out, you turn it back on to saute, add some more butter, and throw in some spinach and garlic, and you get spinach garlic mashed potatoes. And like your actual time of effort is like maybe 5 minutes. Like it really, like you were so impressed the night I made that meal, and I'm like, it's harder to get carry out.
Well, and speaking of that, we figured something out when we went to Earth Magic for a weekend.
Well, go ahead with Earth Magic, and then I'll answer that question for Mika.
Okay. We discovered that fast food is crap anymore.
Yeah, we're having some troubles after like cooking a lot at home with like eating out again. It's like, wow, fast food sucks.
Yeah.
How are we eating this crap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I've gotten to where it's like, I used to be find the closest McDonald's. I wanted number 1 and number 2. And now it's like, is there an Applebee's? Is there an Outback? What about a mom and pop restaurant that does takeout?
And to answer Mika's question on paprika, lovely red spice. It is a form of pepper. If I remember correctly. If you may be more familiar with pimento, is a close kind of thing. It's very mild. It's got a little warmth. It doesn't have a lot of kick. It typically doesn't bother most people. Like it's not like black pepper or white pepper. It's not like those peppers. Or like jalapeno or anything like that. It's not or cayenne even. It's just got this kind of warm mildness. It's, if you're familiar with deviled eggs, it's the red stuff on top. So yes, hey Terry. And as for taste, it's kind of depends. There's a few different forms of paprika. There's your regular smoked paprika. I believe there's a sweet paprika and a Hungarian paprika. Those are at least the 3 I'm familiar with.
Prefer Hungarian.
Do what now?
We prefer Hungarian.
I do. I like the Hungarian. It's got like just a touch of a kick.
Yeah.
It's close to having a kick.
To me, it tastes like a nice, warm, peppery flavor without the heat. It isn't really hot.
Right.
If you're familiar with the seasoning on top of Checkers fries, then you know what paprika is.
There you go. But no. And then smoked paprika always reminds me a little bit of Gouda cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And that just like, I don't know, there's something like soft and velvety and warm and just about it. And then sweet paprika is a little different. It's got that like little bit of a peppery taste, but it's literally what it says. It's sweet. It's like, instead of being like, a savory taste, it's more like a sweetness, kind of like a pimento is.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
no, but I prefer Old Bay because it already has the salt, the pepper, the paprika, the garlic in it, and it gives a more even flow to seasoning.
Yeah. Great big secret of the herbs and spices aisle is that a lot of what you're buying, in terms of like Old Bay or allspice, they're just combinations.
Yeah.
Like they're proportions that you can do at home.
Yeah.
Like some key spices.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really not a big, huge thing.
Right. It's just easier.
Yeah. Well, and it can be nice. But sometimes you'll get into a recipe that requires a lot of something, or you run out of something.
All right.
And then there's also the moments when you literally are running out of something, and it's like, I have this 3 minutes from going in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have time to run to the store. Like, I have preheated my oven. I have my mixture in my casserole dish. What do? I'm out of nutmeg.
Apple pie seasoning. It's the same damn thing.
Or I'm out of allspice.
Allspice is a combination of pineapple pie mix and cinnamon.
Well, technically, cinnamon, clove. I think it's cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can at least hit most of those, like, if I run out of nutmeg, I'm either going to grab clove and cinnamon and just call it a day, and just kind of like lightly dash. It's like, close enough.
Well, I find that
it hits the same spots.
Right, but I find they use a lot of nutmeg in cooking because they want a smoky flavor. Get liquid smoke.
Well, now that's depending upon how you're using it. Like, a lot of custards, though,
right,
have like a nutmeg or allspice or clove sometime like topping.
Mm-hmm.
That like right before you go to throw it in the oven, you just like lightly dash it.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or a lot of cobblers.
Yeah.
And it is important on a cobbler. I will point that out. I don't ask me why, but I can tell the difference immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a good difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it just pulls back the like super sweet, oh my God of it, to something that's like, okay, I can handle that.
Mm-hmm. And destroy it like every cobbler I've ever made.
Yes.
The one that you were like, that ain't gonna turn out to be shit.
Okay. Now wait a second. You got to explain that one.
Well, you explain it. Explain my super cobbler.
It looks like a disaster. That's what your super cobbler is it looks like a damn disaster.
It's easy. You take a
It is easy, but there is no moment when you look at someone taking a cast iron skillet and without fanfare dumping a cake mix into it, ungreased, dumping a cake mix into it, dumping pie filling into it, pouring butter over it, and slapping it in an oven.
You got the order wrong.
Regardless. Like, there's no stirring, there's no mixing, there's no anything. He literally dumps everything together and shoves it in the oven. And I'm like, oh God, that's not a thing. That doesn't work. That is like, I had serious questions in that moment when I watched you do that. Is like, he said he could cook. He lied. He does not understand cooking. Like, that's not a thing. Yeah. Oh, and it is amazing, but I swear to God, standing there watching that one was like, oh hell no! Like, get away from my food processor. You are standing too close.
And the recipe is real simple. I'll give it to you. It's no-fail cobbler. You take either 2 cans of fruit, like pie filling, apple pie filling, whatever, or 2 mason jars of canned fruit. Dump it in a deep iron skillet. Cover it with cake mix, preferably Duncan Hines or Pillsbury. You want a high-quality one. You take 2 sticks of butter, you melt them, you drizzle it over it, you slap the sucker in the oven for 350 for 22 minutes. You pull it out, you look at it, you drizzle caramel, chocolate sauce, or whatever on top of the sucker. You cover it with foil for 10 minutes, and you serve it hot with ice cream. Easiest dang dessert you'll ever have. Quick and simple. Gets requested all the time, because everyone thinks that I work forever with it.
Yeah. And it is. It's like, you have no idea how little effort. But now, I also have a breakfast casserole that I used to do all the time. That, again, was in that category of, it's not hard. It requires a lot of eggs. That's the only thing. Is it takes more than a dozen eggs. Because you're making a pancake batter based on box directions, which requires, I think, 2 eggs. And then you're literally mixing up a dozen eggs.
So a half a gallon of egg yolks. Okay.
Yeah. And then you're, like quick scrambling sausage, or you're putting ham, like you need a meat. Cheese. And it's literally a dump. It doesn't matter what order you put those ingredients in. It will do its own thing. And it makes an amazing little breakfast casserole. It comes out almost like the consistency of a McGriddle, just not as sweet, though technically you can totally dip it in syrup. And you will think you're eating a McGriddle.
Or drizzle syrup over it.
Pardon?
Or drizzle syrup over it after it's done.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like brain dead simple. I can throw one together without even being awake. Like, I swear to God, I can roll straight out of bed and make that. Only breakfast you will ever see me make the minute I get up. Preheated oven, 45 minutes, I think it is, at like 350.
Yeah.
Super ridiculously simple. Yes. He is taking questions. Please make sure to include your date of birth.
Yep. And then, other simple recipes that look so hard is my cream cheese cucumbers.
Yes.
They are delicious. You take Ritz crackers, you lay them out on your serving tray. You take cucumbers, you skin that sucker, and you slice it. Fairly, about that much. I would say probably 1/8 of an inch. You slap that across the lovely, lovely Ritz crackers. You put a little dollop, probably a half a teaspoon of cream cheese across the top of that, and you sprinkle lemon pepper sauce, lemon pepper seasoning all over the top. Boom. Your entree is done.
Yeah. The only caveat to that is be careful on the cream cheese cucumber things. If you're going to try to make those ahead, that means you now have to stop before you get to that. Put the cucumber on the cracker thing. Yeah, you got to dry that cucumber out.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to salt it and put it in the fridge and let it weep and do the thing. But yeah, it tastes amazing. The only problem is if you forget to dry the cucumber, is that all that moisture will flow into the cracker.
Brenda, we've done that. Chocolate cake, dump cake recipe. And we've skipped all this and used just the cherry pie filling and the chocolate cake mix. And the butter turned out just as delicious.
Yeah, we did do that one. Sorry, I keep looking distracted. Our cats decided to be fun tonight. I had to shake my head at him a minute ago. He tried to jump up on a chair, and it was America's Funniest Videos, worthy of fail. It was a lot of fail all at once. Like, he failed to get up on there, and then he couldn't let go. And so he was just kind of like, eh.
And what I did for the sauce in that, using the cobbler recipes, I used white chocolate sauce over the top of it. You want to talk about delicious? Oh, white chocolate sauce with a chocolate cherry pie. Delish.
Okay, and Terry asks, so 31357, is my boyfriend doing drugs?
No. It does show some problems and some emotional issues, but it also shows the Justice card and the King of Cups together. So with that, I would say no, he's not doing drugs if he's not prescribed.
Okay. Does that possibly mean, though, that maybe like the issues she's seeing might be related to those prescriptions? Okay.
Kind of like me when I take my meds, I take a nap.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if it's really bad, you might want to make sure that gets brought up to a doctor with, hey, there's some side effects here.
But
that are concerning.
But speaking of that, and reflecting over this week, I actually done a class in my sunglasses. Didn't even realize that I had them on.
You did a show in your sunglasses.
I did a show in my sunglasses. Didn't even realize it. Going on about my life.
Yes, it's been cute.
Yeah.
Watching you try to figure out how to have two pairs of glasses.
It's been cute trying to figure out which glasses do I have on.
Yep.
Because I'm walking around going, great, finally the room isn't hurting my eyes.
But that's also happening with the clear ones, with the non-sunglasses. Because we went ahead and got you two pair, the prescription sunglasses and the prescription glasses. So you actually have the right prescription. I'm still ticked off. Like, in my worldview, he don't even need glasses. He's sitting over there at 2025. Like, 2025, hell. My glasses barely get me to that.
Yeah, and that is at 20 paces.
I drive a car wearing contacts somewhere between 2040 and 2060. because I have an astigmatism that is bad enough in one eye to require a weighted lens, the toric lenses, but not bad enough in the other eye to require that. Like, it wouldn't help me and it wouldn't turn right. So they tried to give me different ones. Funny thing, if you're a contact lens wearer and you have an astigmatism, you've learned this, but for those of you who are unaware, a toric lens, if I remember correctly, a toric lens is blue or like a light green, like very light tinting, and your other lens is clear. I can perceive the difference with them in. As in, I look through this eye and then I look through this eye and the colors are different. And it threw me off enough. I was like, no. Just give me 2 standard lenses since you can't give me 2 torics. Because I'm like, I can adjust mentally to like the color shift, but I can't be seeing it like as I turn my head. Like that messed with my head for the longest time. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me.
Tip for that. Sharon asked, she just got glasses last week. She's been an adventure finding ways to keep them from fogging up. While wearing a mask is to tuck them underneath the glasses. The mask goes underneath your glasses.
You can also mix up a solution of dish soap and water, or buy the anti-fog stuff, which is dish soap and water. Like that, it's literally what you do.
Yeah.
Clean your glasses with it. Make sure you get them very dry, and you should have a lot less fogging.
Right.
How do I know this, you ask? I've only been wearing glasses for like 30 years.
And I'm having to remember them when I go to pick up my phone and go, oh, fuck, I can't see this shit.
That's the part that's scaring me. Like somewhere north of 35. And right now I'm starting to wonder if it's part of the prism issue, because we had to introduce prism before I had my neck surgery. And I think a lot of that was because I was tilting without realizing. But ever since the prism was introduced in my glasses, I now have to do this thing where I'm like, find the happy focal length. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so old.
Yes. You are getting older. I was impressed, though, that my price of glasses have went down over the past 15 odd years.
Oh yeah. And there's a whole YouTube video about like how to tie a mask so that it works better. Especially if you have the one with the metal like ridge piece.
And those work better too, is the ones that either cup over the nose or the ones that actually have the nose piece to them.
Yeah.
And
the other thing we would suggest is making sure your mask is big enough.
Yeah.
Here's the test. We figured this out. It is a magical test. Put the mask on and try to talk. If you end up with mask in your mouth within a sentence or 2, the mask is too small.
Yeah, one size does not fit all.
Yeah, we were horrified to realize that a bunch of the masks we had bought were just way too small.
Yeah.
Like they stretch and they'll go on and they're comfortable. It technically fits, but the minute you try to talk, it's just like, get out of my mouth.
Right. But we're going to be wrapping up here really soon because we're at an hour and a half, guys. But have fun. Reconnect with family. Reconnect with your house. Reconnect with your space. This is a great time to be making your space and taking mental time to do things for you, whether it's getting up and doing 100 different things at once, or calming down and going, I'm really sick of how the living room looks.
Mm-hmm.
But until next Tuesday, we'll see you then. You may get an extra video this week because I still have my FC box to open. We still have past lives oracles to look at. So as soon as I get my butt calmed down and I can actually stand sitting out here during the day, you will probably get an extra video from me. And you should have some articles coming out.
Hopefully soon.
Yes.
Hopefully soon. Now change the scroller. And I'm going to punish you by making you read it.
Yeah. Guys, we, of course, do not get monetized by YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else. We do, however, have, under the request of our listeners, opened up a Patreon account. If you would like to become part of our Patreon network, please visit PCSnetwork.com. Of course, that's also where you can find more information about me, about Techy Joe, and about the network itself, some of the things we do, some of the fun stuff. We want to say thank you to Beverly Walker and the Crystal Lotus Shop for your support. And of course, we have packages all the way from like $1 up to $10. So if you would like to chip in and do that, that would be awesome. It does give you some additional content. It does give you some additional things, and sometimes some early specials, and also discounts on my readings. And with that, good night, y'all. Have a blessed evening. Hope you guys enjoyed our chit chat. Next Tuesday, who knows what we'll dig into. Until then, be safe, have fun, and remember, if you see something, send it to us. We'll be glad to give you our point of view about it. Bye, y'all.
Bye.